Hello and welcome again to No Prize Podcast. I am the Professor Bud Young, and with me, as always, is Lucas. What's up, Lucas? How are you doing?
Man, this weekend was packed, right? We got Valentine's that was around the corner, then we
Oh yeah,
had Super Bowl, man, and then your favorite team won, and just amazing. But better than that, man, freaking the finale of the Bubba Fett, or the season
yeah.
finale of the Book of Bubba Fett, man.
Are we
So
getting a season two? I don't know.
I don't think well. I don't know, man, because because we're flowing into actual Mandalorian stuff, right? So that's going to pick
Yeah.
up and shit, right? So I guess that'll determine it, because do we need to go back and learn more about Boba Fett? I don't know.
No. Yeah, I think right now where they ended him. I mean, it's the end of his story, right? I mean, they can now bring him in and pull him in as a side character if they need to. I don't think it's the end of his story, but I don't think we're going to get the second Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
But what did you? So what did you think? Because I don't even think last podcast that we talked about the CGI. Oh, did Luke Skywalker not? Luke Skywalker was in episode 6, not episode 5, right?
So that I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I can't remember either
Yeah, I
now.
can't remember, but yeah, I mean, you talk about the CGI of Luke
Yeah,
Skywalker.
see, episode 5 was the return of Mandalorian, and then he went to see Grogu in episode 6. All right, so we did not talk about the CGI. I know last season when he returned, we talked about how the deep fake looked a little too deep fakey.
Yeah.
So um, I think this episode 5, anyway, was fantastic as far as getting him to look the way he was supposed to look. They kind of did a good job at kind of keeping your focus away from his mouth moving half the time, because that was, I think,
Yeah.
the only bit of a problem that I had with the CGI. But oh my God, can you like? And that's just a year of of advances in that technology. Can you imagine what's coming down the pike? We could see all of these actors like resurrected to play these characters forever,
Yeah.
and we would never even know the difference. And I think that's coming.
Black Mirror, man. Black Mirror, man. Freaking, if you're a star and you sign on that one time, you're going to be in perpetuity, freaking acting in some crappy TV series or movie, man. You just got to
That
be careful about that,
and that wasn't
man.
even Mark Hamill that did the voice for Luke in that
That's
episode.
was
That was
Yeah,
that was computers reproducing his voice from the sound clips. Like, oh my God, the technology is insanity.
yeah. I mean, that's what gets me is they really didn't even have to do all of that they did to get where they did. I mean, the dude's still around, right? I mean, I mean,
Right?
like, and then you did all that. So I don't think it's fair, right? Or at least I hope they're paying dude a lot if they're going to do it to him like that. Pay him a
Right.
lot, because oh man,
Well, what
and
happens in the case of when they did Peter Cushing as Tarkin uh, in Rogue Squad and Rogue One, right? What what is to prevent them? Like, who do they pay? Do they pay his estate, right?
right.
What do they?
Um,
What's the
they,
legality there? I mean, I imagine you have to get someone to sign some kind of a release, or is it because Disney owns the intellectual property to those actors and the roles that they played, that they just have the rights to their likenesses forever?
I could see this becoming a legal issue because right now, as we speak, most of like first of all, what happens is an actor he goes on set, he fucking does this thing, and he acts this thing, and then and then later on in the studio they go back and say, "Ooh, we need to fix this because the
Mm,
audio wasn't that great. So let's go back and take that audio out." And then that actor or they get somebody to fill in, and then they go in, they redo the audio part, and then they match it up, right? Well,
hmm.
what's going to happen if the audio part is no longer that actor's, right? It's because, like you said, it was all computer, right?
Yeah.
And what about for those characters where most of the part of the character is actually digitally CGI, i.e., like
Hmm.
the Matrix, right? Like I
Yeah.
know Neo, he was there, but most of it was CGI. What about Avatar,
Hmm. Yeah.
right? Um, you know, there was a lot of audio mixing, right? So it's going to be so tough, man, babe, to see
Yeah.
like I see within the next 7 years, you're going to have that first freaking award show. It's going to be an Oscar award show, and it's going to be awarded to an actor when the actor didn't actually do all the acting or do all the audio for it. Or you might have
Right.
to have a separate category, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Best sound actor,
Best
best,
performance by a computer AI.
yeah,
And this begs a question: when does it become cheaper for the studios to just CGI fix into like let's say they need to do reshoots instead
yeah,
of paying that actor to come back, or they just digitally fix it, or they digitally reshoot it their own way, and it becomes cheaper because the technology, I mean, technology gets cheaper over time. So it's gonna at some point, like, why pay this guy $1 million to star in our movie when he's signed the rights to his
all right.
likeness, and we can just create it digitally.
It's when you have situations like uh Natalie Portman in the Black Widow. Is that Natalie Portman?
No.
Oh, just well,
Scarlett Johansson.
yeah, Scarlett Johansson, where you have a franchise type situation, right, where it's multiple movies, right, and you know that you might have to have that actor come back, right,
Hmm.
but uh, to have that, because that's the always the risk was, Disney took a risk on her and some of these other actors, and not all of these actors were famous. They even took a risk on Robert Downey Jr., who was famous, but he was down on his luck,
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So they took a big risk, and they went out there. And but you know what happens when actors and you both do a good job as a studio, you do a good job, and the actor does a good job. People like your product. Now all of a sudden, the actors get big heads and they think that they're better than you, and then they want more money, right?
Hmm.
Even though they're going to make more money with you, they think they want more money out of you. So that's those are those circumstances where it's better to, hey, let me go ahead and invent this character or buy the license for this particular character, and I'm going to CGI the whole thing. I'm going to computer generate the whole audio, and then let that be it. Think about how much money. Like so for if it's, once again, I go back to the Avatar thing. Like yeah, um, think about how much money they're actually saving. Yeah, they're paying money to those actors to come in and put the dots all over the face so and everything. But by not having them actual like physically in the movie, I'm pretty sure they're saving a lot of money.
Hmm.
That's why I was one of the most highest grossing franchises of all time.
Right.
You know, because you're not gonna have that actor or actress come back like, well, I need more money for what? For what? What?
Yeah. No.
You know?
So tell me what you thought about the finale of Book of Boba Fett, episode 7, um, where we had all the story threads coming together in one gigantic hour long battle scene.
Right. The payoff.
Yeah,
The
well, it
absolute
did. It
payoff.
was it was definitely a payoff. What did you like? What did you like? What did you hate?
For me personally, so here I'll take myself out of the equation. And once again, I had a podcast last night where everybody got to exert their frustration, and they told me what they don't. You know what they didn't like? From the they don't like that they. Oh man, should we? I'm not going to spoil this, but the death of a particular character
Hmm.
upset the world because his first appearance was a $500 to $800 book, and It was because they were like, "Oh man, this is a great character. He's going to be a great character to see in the Star Wars world for many years to come." And they've been just waiting and
Hmm.
waiting for this character, and then he shows up, and then a couple episodes later, he dies. so, so people are a little upset about that, right? But I mean, really, there's no other way that this could pop off, right? You don't have a war and then everybody freaking lives after that. But there's suspicion that hey, there's this back to tank. You could somehow somebody could maybe bring him back. That's what's going on. Um,
Yeah.
you got the marshal who's on his own thing. Hey, he died. Shall he be risen? Shall he die again? No, because you got to remember. So they're inside the Star Wars world, especially inside the comics. The whole cyborg thing is a big thing right now, with especially with the Baylor Valance
Hmm.
deal. So maybe they're going that way. Like, if you're doing a season two, are you going to follow more along that line? Like, are we going, or are we going to see more bounty hunters and assassins? That's what I. That's what it left me off wondering. Like, hey, if we get a season two, are we going to see this? And I think that's perfect, because that's what a season finale should leave you off with. Like, hey, if it's season two, it probably should go this direction. So, and then just cut everything off at the knees. Like, all right, good luck, good luck with your night terrors for for the rest of the times we figure out what's going on, right?
So
Um,
this is what I think about and what you said, and I've been saying in the podcast the last month or so about wanting to see more bounty hunters, especially some of the bounty hunters that were in Empire, and uh, the a season two would be great if, let's say, the hunter became the hunted, right? Like if now Boba Fett, the bounty hunter, became the one that all the bounty hunters are looking for, right?
yeah.
So
Hmm.
that could be a great season two, and you could bring out the rest of the bounty hunters all chasing Boba Fett now because now he's wanted, right? That would that would be the way that you would go as far as now we're looking at maybe the Hutts put a bounty on Boba Fett's because they want Tatooine back, right? That's that's the direction I think they need to go if they do a season two, because let's face it, the payoffs in this series were the characters you didn't know you wanted to see show up, right? Well,
Yeah.
we got Cad Bane in episode 6, and we got Cobb Vanth coming back. We got Black Chrysanthemum, and let me talk about Black Chrysanthemum for a second, because I believe that's the first appearance of a current Marvel property that was created for the comics for Marvel in the last 10 years to show up in a show.
Really?
Um,
Okay.
I believe so. And you tell me, we did, because we didn't get Dr. Afra, who I was kind of thinking that we might see. We didn't get Valance, who I kind of thought we might see. But we got Black Chrysanthemum, which means to me everything is fair game. And the other things we didn't get like a continuation of a Han Solo with Crimson Reign or Darth Maul. There's more story to tell there that we might not get in a sequel. Um, that's the kind of story that this, like, Book of Boba Fett, and who knows, maybe season 3 of Mandalorian delves into that a little bit, instead of, you know they are kind of creating their own universe in that respect. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that I would like to see them introduce here in the Star Wars expanded universe, is what I'm pretty much calling Disney Plus. So um, yeah, I mean, the story, I think the last episode was a gigantic cluster F from beginning to end. And there were things that I like. Of course, there were things I rolled my eyes at, and there were things that I thought were probably not servicing the characters the best way possible. I think they totally dropped the ball the last 2 episodes by having Boba Fett be a guest star in his own show. And to me, that meant that they didn't really know what they would like, just barreling forward with the story. And maybe, I don't know if they rushed it, even though they had plenty of time to do it. It seemed like the episode 5 and 6 were not really, it meant to me like that was supposed to be episodes 1 and 2 of Mandalorian season 3. And
Mm.
even though they set it up for season 3 to be, Mando and Grogu, off doing their thing. Now you spent so much time on them, right? And Robert Rodriguez didn't direct episodes 5 and 6, where we were told he was helming the show, and he missed the middle 2 episodes, arguably the 2 best episodes of the show, right?
Yeah.
and and we get episode 6, which is just kind of just a mess, I thought. Even though at the end they got to the end point, and it's a point of what I think is that they didn't stick the landing. And you're right that with a certain character death, where they just had introduced him, and you were just like, oh, this is going to be, he's going to be the foil going forward, kind of like a Moff Gideon over in Mandalorian. I was thinking that this was going to be the guy, and now he's not. So unless, death doesn't mean death in Star Wars either, right? So,
right.
it's very possible that he's not. But it would if he's not, then it takes away the ending of this show.
Well, yeah, so the issue that we're running into right now is that very lost Star Wars movie where we had the Emperor who was all of a sudden a thing again and comes back to life, and he was dead, now he's risen, now he shall live again, so. But and I get that, right? Because that's what the Sith and the Jedi were working toward. But now, if you're going to start bringing average Joes back, I don't know what to think about that. Unless you're going to try and tell me, well, cyborgs. Well, yeah, cyborgs is a thing. So they're going to make, which is going to be, because I'm trying to think of any Star Wars movies and series where cyborgs was actually a thing. And then they're going to try and bring that back all of a sudden. Well, except for the series. Yes,
Darth Vader's a cyborg.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. So, it's going to be a mess, man. So we got to figure out if people actually care about cybernetics and cyborgs and get on them, there's a good gamble. But I just don't know if people are going to be willing to do that. So, so the obligatory let people know about what's going on, and you mentioned let's talk about the first appearances of these characters that people might want to talk about.
Yeah, where can we pick up Black Chrysanthemum's first? Oh, Valance. Yeah, there we go.
So the first appearance of Valance was Star Wars Target Vader #1.
Now that's his first new appearance, because he appeared in the original Star Wars series back in the 70s, 80s.
Okay. Yeah. I don't have the slide for it, but the first appearance of Boba Fett, I'm talking about the video, was the Christmas Story special, right, from 1977 or 76?
77, I think.
Right. Yeah. And people were like, well, I can't collect that. Yes, you can, because now collecting VHSs and slabbing them is a natural thing. So you might want to think about picking that up.
I picked up my copy like 30 years ago at a convention for like $1.50, and I remembered seeing it on TV when I was like 7, and I was like, oh my god, the Star Wars Holiday Christmas Special. I had kind of thought that happened in my head, because they never ever replayed it, and when I saw it, I was like, I had to have it, because at that point in time there was no. We hadn't gotten we hadn't gotten the remastered versions of.
Well, hold on, because I just got a box of something just last night. Let's see. We turn off the old filter here, the old beauty filter that's keeping me this
What's
thing.
That?
Let's see what this is. I would do the what's in the box freaking thing, but I've been telling Al, man, like, look, brother, you gotta freaking turn the cussing off on that one, man, because I'm trying to be more family friendly, man. Like, I know you got me hanging out with Blind Adam. Shout out to Awesome Sauce Radio, but
are you on that show?
By force. you know, I'll give the brothers this, man. Freaking whoever freaking rapping the heck out of it. Bubble wrapped and triple
Yeah.
wrapped and eBay wrapped and all that.
Wrap for your
Um,
protection.
yeah, like here we go, here we go. Boom.
Oh, there you go. Star Wars
Star
Holiday
Wars
Special.
Holiday Special, and then on the back,
Yeah, I see the Boba Fett.
yes, sir.
It's that 5-minute cartoon that he's in.
I wish I could watch it, man, but I don't have a VHS tape.
That's right. You flip
Oh man.
flip that on eBay or something. All right. So who else? What other issues we got to look out for?
Star Wars Darth Vader #1. That is the first appearance of Black Chrysanthemum.
Here we go.
Okay. I'm talking about the 2015 one. And then this past week, Star Wars Darth Vader #20, the 50th anniversary. That is the first cover appearance. There's a lot of debate on this one because I would say that Screen Comics one is the first comic appearance because it says Comics on there. But a lot of more people are safe with this one. They feel a lot more safe having this one
Hmm.
as the first comic appearance of Grogu, even though he's not even in the guts. But people like this one, and people have been snapping this one up. Right, currently, in some circles, it's going as far as $16, which is pretty good for a $3.99 book, and that I'm sure is going to be printed over 100,000. I'm positive.
Hmm.
There's gonna be 100,000 printed of this bad boy.
It's
So,
a nice cover. I haven't seen that before.
sir.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's it for Star Wars talk. Did you want to take a break and then we freaking
Yep.
start talking about comics?
Yep. Let's take a break and then we'll get right into the comics this week. Let's see. All right. So, hey, if you like toys, and let's face it, who doesn't? Check out Crisis on the Toyverse with Bob O'Mac. It's one of the best podcasts. You will enjoy it. I promise. All right, let's jump into what happened in the world of Marvel Comics this week. Oh yeah, let's jump into Devil's Reign, man, because there's and we spend a lot of time just crapping on comics because I'm not happy with a lot of the stuff that they're doing these days. But this is an example of Marvel Comics done right. Devil's Reign, we get number 4 of 6 this week. And let me give you the details. So we have Chip Zdarsky, who is this book is just running from his run on Daredevil. Artist Marco Cicchetto, color artist Marcio Menes, letterer Clayton Cowles. And then let's blame the editors, right? If you don't like it, editor is Devin Lewis, with associated editor is Tom Groneman. So this book it's been set up in the pages of Daredevil for the last several months, and you missed the first 3 issues of Death's Reign, will catch you up. But we have Kingpin of Crime, Wilson Fisk, running the New York City as the mayor, and he has outlawed superheroes in New York City limits. This is the only problem that I have with that book is that it's a little derivative of Dark Avengers and that book from close to 10 years ago with with the heroes on the run and the villains appointed, the law keepers in New York. And this issue opens up with the heroes forced underground. You have Kingpin with his Dr. Octopus and his, I guess, the superior Doc Ock as Hulk, Ghost Rider, and Wolverine from alternate universes, which you don't see much of in this issue. But the story really is a Kingpin story, and the ramifications of the Purple Man forcing everybody to forget that Matt Murdock is Daredevil, and Kingpin realizing that someone messed with his mind. And this is the issue that I want to say the crap hits the fan, because Kingpin realizes that he can use Purple Man's power, who he has kind of, they explain it a little bit, right? He puts the Purple Man's power. He has him trapped in a cage, and he's using his power in the tip of his cane. So now whenever he says something, it's like the Purple Man saying it. And to me, I thought that was cool. And then at the end, when he mistakenly uses the power on Typhoid Mary to make her remember, that he realizes that he can use it on himself and can make him remember stuff. And that's the greatest, I think the greatest shot in this book is the last panel, where in the rain he realizes that he remembers that Matt Murdock is Daredevil. And now you're just like, oh crap, because it's been an amazing run for Zdarsky on Daredevil. And this, I thought that this was going to be the end of his run, but they've just announced that Zdarsky and Chichetto are coming out with a new Daredevil #1, and they're going to continue their run, which to me, thank you. Thank you. The things that this book really does well is that they're bringing back the Thunderbolts, and you can see that on the cover here. And they've also announced a new Thunderbolt series coming out in March or April, I think, with nobody that's in this cast. Have you seen that?
No, I have not seen that. But let's get down to you're speaking about past a whole bunch of stuff right now.
Yeah.
You're doing awesome right now.
Why don't you jump in and talk about it?
So once again, absolutely, Chip Zdarsky doing an absolutely excellent job crafting this stuff together, giving us a whole bunch of payoff for the little stuff that normally would kind of piss me off. But then you sped past the stuff about the purple children, right? So that's where I want to pull us back to. His daughter, Kara Kilgrave, who they mentioned.
Yeah.
Her first appearance was in Alpha Flight number 41, 1986. Right,
Yeah.
so that's out there.
She was actually on that team for a while.
On
She was on Alpha
the
Flight.
one on the Thunderbolts.
No, she was on Alpha Flight.
Oh, okay. And then you were talking about his son. I forget the name of the son,
Oh,
but his
Butch.
first Butch. Okay. His first appearance was digitally, right? Jessica Jones' Purple
Really?
Daughter, Marvel digital. So there was not a hard copy; it was a digital. So what I'm going to have to track down at some point is whether or not they actually ever printed those. Has he ever had an appearance that was actually printed? Because if not, then there's a possibility that Devil's Reign #5 or #6 could
So
be the kid's first printed appearance.
So
Just putting
that
that out there.
series, and I remember it, I think from a couple of years ago, right? And it was a 4 issue limited that was released digitally, but I do think that it was released in print as 2 double-sized issues. It was 2, like issue 1 and 2, and then issue 3 and 4 in
Mm.
in an actual print issue. But I think the print run was really low, so that might actually be a nice collector's item if you can find it, right?
Yeah. So I'm looking online Jessica Jones Marvel Premiere graphic novel comic book.
Well,
I see
okay,
that out
so
there.
yeah, so they probably released a graphic novel. Yeah.
So that means, oh wait, purple, yeah, trade paperbacks, graphic novels. So so that's going to be interesting. So that means he never really had like a comic book. Comic book. It was like graphic novels,
Hmm.
trade paperbacks. Uh, I wonder how that's going to shake out.
You have to buy a whole graphic novel to get his first appearance. If they, I mean, what do you think they're going to do with him? Do you think that they're going to set him up to be like the next Rose or something? Or I mean, this is a child that Wilson did not know he had, right? So, um, so Butch never had that influence of the Kingpin being his dad, um,
Mm.
and his mom like kept him away from him. So. Um, we don't and he's also kind of questionable morally, right? I mean, he's kind of a bad guy too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
So,
so
mm.
it's not like they can turn him. Well, are they going to turn him into a hero, or they maybe set him up to be the next Kingpin? Maybe he takes down his dad.
so here's what I'm looking at right now. I'm looking inside the. I'm looking at a reference for his first appearance, and it's kind of interesting, right? Characters that also made appearances in his first appearance was Purple Woman, of course, his sister,
Hmm.
Luke Cage, Carol Danvers, uh, Danny Cage, which would be the daughter of
Daughter of
Luke Cage,
and
and
Jessica, right?
Dazzler. Nobody cares about Dazzler right now. Uh, Doc Strange, Doctor Voodoo,
Hmm.
Wanda Maximoff. So that there's a whole bunch of characters that have already made their appearances in the MCU or are about to include some that are having movies coming out or projects that are coming out pretty soon. Um, so where would I see him showing up? Last night keep it where bumping me over the head, like talk about Strange Academy, right?
Hmm.
They've been bumping up that roster for Strange Academy all of a sudden. The cousin of Reptile, the sister of Elsa Moonstone is going
Yeah.
to Strange Academy. Um, just over and over again. So he would fit in perfectly at an academy for Doc Strange, right?
Mm.
That would be interesting to see if they decided to do something like that. So, but let's get back to the story that we're actually supposed to be talking about. Right?
Yeah, sure.
We're just not the speculation show
We're
here,
going
right?
we're going down
But
all these roads here.
the look, once again, Chip Zdarsky did an absolutely great job. And there's all these elements. Hey, freaking, uh, you know, hey, Daredevil's a bad guy, or he was a bad boy. He did a bad thing. Now he was all of a sudden he's broken out. And then you had the champions, Nova, Miles Morales, Vision, Kamala Khan. They just came off of that whole thing where them doing superpower stuff is against the law. Now and then everybody was like, maybe we don't care. And then Wilson Fisk goes, yeah, I care. Freaking lock him up. Like okay. And then all of a sudden, for some reason, the Fantastic Four were all locked up. Like okay.
Hmm.
Um, so there's all these different elements that were happening in their own little different freaking books. Now all of a sudden, it's come to a head. And then look, if anybody else, and let's get right down to it because don't forget why Wilson Fisk is doing this, right? Somebody went into his mind and basically mind raped, right? Made
Yep.
him forget some of the most important elements that he's been made you forget that a certain person is a threat. I mean, they could freaking show up at your doorstep. You wouldn't know. You're just gonna smile at them and be no. You
Yeah.
don't know. Dude, that is an important piece of your life, knowing who's a threat and who's not a threat, right?
And let's remember that earlier in this Daredevil run, that Matt was Kingpin's deputy, wasn't he?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so now it's going to be more like more revenge that he's going to want to get from him. That's where I kind of think that this is going to be, classic Kingpin at his best. And what I think he's going to forget all about being mayor now. I think I think this is full on criminal Kingpin back. So
Yeah, it's tough, but I kind of feel for him, man. I'm like, man, you know what? I'm kind of on Wilson's side, man. Like you kind of mind raped him, and then doing some stuff, and then for the last what 3 or 4 issues, he's been trying to figure out what the heck was it. He had a whole folder full of the bad guys and the super guys and his thing, and then you did something to make him forget, make that thing, whole thing. That is because that look, he's the mayor of New York City. That is his job to know who the threats are and who the good guys are. That is literally
yeah.
his freaking job.
Hmm. Yep.
If you don't want to operate with him knowing who you are, then get the heck out. That's it. How about they in a real world you would have to work together with the mayor, just like Batman has to work together with Jim Gordon,
Yeah.
right? But instead of saying, hey, I know you're the big boss, man. Let's work together. He's like, no, we're just going to freaking, make you forget some stuff. And then, because the thing is, once you do something like that to somebody, every other decision they make is no longer their own decision. It's your
Yeah.
decision. You're taking all the because there's a piece of their life that there's missing, a piece of important information is missing. So, man, it's tough, and I like the way Chip Zdarsky has laid it out.
Hmm.
I like the even think about this. Right now, Wilson Fisk is married to old girl.
Typhoid Mary. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if I had all my faculties, I'm not getting married to any girl named Typhoid anything. I'm sorry. With all the types of diseases and freaking itchy scratchies out there in the world right now. No, girl, I'm sorry. Could you at least change the name? you know, can
Yeah.
you get it? No, how about Lysol, Mary? Can you name yourself that? Because I'm not trying to typhoid. And then when I go to the doctor and he freaking looks down and say, "Hey, man, what you been doing?" Well, no, I I've just been with the wife. And he said, "Oh, well, what's the name of your wife?" So I could call her up and let her know what's going on. Typhoid, Mary. Oh shit. Well, there you go. So
Ah, jeez.
so
Yeah.
yeah. So once again, a great job. I can't wait to see what else comes out of this. I feel like once again, there has been several different storylines over the last 2 to 3 years that has been the same thing. Superheroes bad. Let's lock them up. Let's not let them do their own thing. I feel like here in Devil's Reign, they're actually following through on a logical progression.
Hmm.
It didn't come out of like nowhere, right? That
Yep.
that that the whole city is pissed off of them. They're explaining why the whole city is agreeing with Wilson Fisk, right? Because they got the power of the Purple Man and everything, right? So I feel like this makes sense. They explain where this is coming from. They explain where this is going, and I don't feel like they're all going to start suddenly just drop the storyline like they did the whole. What was it? The name of I forget the name of the Young Avengers, the Young Champions storyline where they were locking up all the teams. I forget the name of that
Yeah.
joint.
Outlawed.
Yeah,
Outlawed
yeah,
was
yeah,
the
yeah,
name of
yeah,
that. That was an abort. Well, I want to say that was almost an aborted storyline because it came out in the middle of COVID or at the beginning of COVID. So
yeah. Ridiculousness, but yeah,
yeah.
that's how I feel.
All right, so if you're not picking up Devil's Reign, why not? Go get it. It's the best book Marvel's putting out right now. Now that Hulk's over, um, so this is our highest possible recommendation. And then I think the other one we talked about last week was the Elektra Daredevil book, the Daredevil Woman Without Fear. That one is also good. Go check that out. Um, but we can't everything can't be great in the Marvel universe. So let's talk about a book that maybe I didn't think was great.
Okay,
we
so you want to talk about
can
which one did you want to talk about? This one, Adventures number 3, or X
let's
Death of
do
Wolverine?
let's do Avengers number 53. We'll get this out of the way. You know what this reminded me of primarily, and this is not necessarily a bad thing, but did you ever read any Silver Age Justice League comic books?
Maybe, maybe not. But
I'm going to
it's
explain to
like,
you why this reminds me of a Silver Age Justice League story. This, the Silver Age Justice League used to have a self-contained issue story in a story, self-contained issue broken up into 3 chapters. And there used to be, say, let's say if there were 6 Justice League members, they would break them up into teams of 2, and then you would get the first part of the story, the second part of the story, and then the team would come together in the third part,
sure.
and beat the bad guy, right? Um, of, this is really kind of what reminds me of Jason Aaron's Avengers run, and this issue is no different because you almost never get the entire team together in an issue. It's basically concentrated on a couple of characters, and then this you can see the 3 Avengers that they are concentrating on this issue: Namor, Valkyrie, and Black Panther. Namor and Valkyrie not even really being accepted members of the team yet, but we know that's coming, right?
Hmm.
With the 50th issue, and they are fighting the reconstituted multiversal Masters of Evil, led
Yes.
by the Doom above all. And if that above all tag is not overused in the last year or two, by Al Ewing and Jason Aaron and whoever else feels like saying this is the one above all, the one below all,
Yeah.
the Doom. This is the Doom above all. And joined in this issue with one of the other Masters of Evil, Kid Thanos. And the problem I have really with this issue is just it seems like there's so much happening that you can't really follow it if you're not following like the previous 2 parts of the story. You're not really getting it. There's no. This book has Black Panther in it is really the only Avenger that shows up in this book. There's no Thor, there's no Cap, there's no Iron Man, there's no Captain Marvel. There's no Ghost Rider, who is now in his own book Avengers Forever over on that run. There's Deathlocks in here that since issue 50 have been practically in every panel of the Avengers book is a Deathlock somewhere. Um, and it's kind of confusing a little bit. I think you might be better served waiting for this entire story to come out and then going back and reading the whole thing um,
Mm.
together. And the other thing is that at the end of this issue, we see finally Avengers Mountain gets destroyed with the Celestial. And I just don't agree with how easy it was that Celestial husk got destroyed. Um,
Exactly. Right.
because it's a Celestial, guys. you
It's
know,
yeah. It's a being that's supposed to be able to transfer space and time, right? And all of a sudden, just a little bit
yeah.
explosives from Doctor Doom can blow it up. Nah, nah. I'm
Uh,
sorry.
yeah. So that was a little bit of kind of what's going on. Uh, Visually, yeah, it was pretty cool. Did I like Avengers Mountain? And did I like that they were living in the body of a Celestial? No, I thought it was really stupid. Um, you know, so I'm glad to see, hopefully, that maybe the Avengers changed their base of operations to Wakanda. That would
Mm.
make sense. But here, I just I think Black Panther and Namor being on the same team, given their history of their countries being at war, of of them just having such a blood feud. I don't see how either of them would be able to like come together to even beat like a Doctor Doom or a Thanos. I don't see them working together. I think the bad blood is that bad that that they would look at each other as enemies, not allies, not even unsteady allies.
Mm.
So even though they're both like I guess on the team now, and if you look at the last 50 issues of Avengers, Namor has been an antagonist to the Avengers, not a member of any kind of a team. Valkyrie, you know, I'm not. No, I wish they would turn her back into Lady Thor. That's That's what I liked her. I don't really know if I like her as Valkyrie because she just seems like she seems an extraneous character. Like they don't really need her, but that's just me. Um,
The-
so tell me what you think of this issue because it's to me it's been a bit convoluted.
Let's. Well, I'm gonna only. You did a great job, so I'm only gonna focus on like a couple of things, right? Just for instance, just what you were talking about with regards to Jane Foster as Lady Thor, right? In the last issue or the last episode that we talked about, I talked about what was going on with Molinear and and Jane Foster. Um,
Oh, right, yeah, yeah.
so Doctor Doom did something to her, and it took away her Valkyrie powers, and then all of a sudden she's back to having cancer again.
Mm,
So I got to go back and look at that again and again and again at that panel to figure out what is going on because there's something going on with that. It's not just what Doctor Doom did. There's something seriously going on.
yeah.
Number two is I don't care. I really don't care about Namor and Black Panther. I think the Namor Black Panther is more interesting in the DC issue of Black Manta. For those who
Mm.
weren't tracking, no, they've got a weird African freaking uh no underwater freaking story going over in DC Comics. That's freaking interesting and more interesting than what's going on here.
Mm.
But I digress.
Did you
This
like
was
did you like Black Panther becoming Red Panther in this issue?
so that is particularly why this book was either number one or number two as far as speculation this week, right?
Okay.
And it went off, right? It's a $25 book. Um, First, and it was weird, right? Because first of all, this covered right here, um, people knew that the Red Panther was coming. So
Oh,
this cover right here was one that people were looking for because like, well, if it's going to be Red Panther, you got to have a panther on the cover to make it make sense. That was cover A. But then all of a sudden, um, the cover C, the art for cover C was released, and that was the one with Miles Morales. Oops, that one.
oh,
So this one is the
that's a good cover.
$25. It is. It's a fantastic cover. Some people don't like it because of the pink and everything. It's like, come on, man, freaking get with the times. Real men wear pink. Like, but this one is the book that's about $25. $25. And then there's also one that's a Joe Jusko that's very hard to find. That's out there. And then there's also a cover out there by Gary Frank. So all of them are doing really well um, when it comes to this whole situation. But what we're really honing in on is this whole Red Panther. Thrice Blessed, he's got Blessed Vibranium, boxing cord, stones from the Wakandan necropolis, armor of the metallicized Orisha blood. I don't know where he got. For those that don't know what Orisha blood is, that's the god. That's the blood of a god, right? So the
Okay.
only Orisha he's been in contact lately has been Bass. So did she give him the blood, or was it did it come from that war in Wakanda they
They
just had?
did Thor hook up an IV?
Yeah. So I don't know what's going on with that one, but you know, talking to the speculators, they're like, well, we don't really think that this is going to last for very long. They think this is probably going to maybe be like a one or two shot thing. Then we are never going to hear about Red Panther again. And I would say normally say yes, except for the fact that this book popped off. And when a book pops off the way it does, uh, Kevin Feige he's going to turn around and he's going, all right, write a couple more stories on this one, and let's see how it shakes out.
Does this remind you of like Iron Man having an armor for every eventuality? So now what? Black Panther's going to have a costume for everything?
That's what's been happening, man. There's some type
Yeah.
of environment. But the problem is, and the question I have is, where is he getting all this vibranium from? Right, all the vibranium supposedly got blown up or destroyed or whatever. Actually, I take that back because they just had that international galactic war
Hmm.
where they came from outer space and I guess they probably brought a whole bunch of vibranium with them. So in the meantime, you got this kid Tosi who his first appearance was like last week or a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
and that was the pop off book of the month. That's a $500 book still. So you're gonna have two vibranium characters out. out there right now. They're going to be competing for resources and power within the Wakanda kingdom. So that's going to be something to see and watch back and read. Maybe they'll find a way to make Wakanda interesting somehow. If they got to do a civil war to do it, fine. Let's do it because the Black Panther stuff has been lacking. But getting down to the nuts and bolts of this thing is that uh like you said, Doctor Doom as the Doom above all, and then the young Thanos. They're showing that he has mommy issues because he keeps bringing up the fact that he killed his own mother when he was a little baby. You know,
Hmm.
uh, I guess um, that would be a version of him that didn't have the Ghost Rider or the Cosmic Ghost Rider intervene.
Yeah,
I guess they forgot about that whole thing, but whatever. So
it doesn't suit this story.
right, so let's just put it out there. The story sucks. They went a lot far away to do absolutely nothing that I care about. The only thing that's good on this is that the speculation is good on this one.
Mm.
That if you're able to get your hands on a copy, you're going to be able to make some money off of this. That is it. That's it.
Well,
That's it.
uh, the art's not bad. I didn't shout out the creator, so my bad. So that was written by Jason Aaron, uh, drawn by Juan Frigeri, who that's a new name to me, unless he's been doing this for a couple of months and I haven't noticed. Color artist is David Curiel, letterers Corey Pettit, and blame the editor Martin Biro, Annalise Bisa, and of course Tom Brevoort, who has been the editor for the Avengers forever.
Yep. All right. So, shall we move on to X Deaths of Wolverine?
Yeah, yeah, we have about 5 minutes left. Let's kill Wolverine again. Go ahead.
Yep. So for context, Maura Taggart, they found out that she was a mutant, and then in the meantime, Charles Xavier Magneto gave her carte blanche to do whatever she could to stop off the coming eventual invasion and takeover by the Phalanx and the techno arcs, right? She says, "Fine, I'll do everything I can, but you gotta do a few things for me to include, hey, that chick Destiny, she's not coming back. That's it. Don't bring her back. Don't resurrect her. Oh, and just so to make sure that you can't bring her back, like all that DNA that you got of her, yeah, get rid of that, scrap that, destroy all that, right? All that, how you got recorded stuff of her mind and your little freaking gadget there, yeah, destroy all that, scrap all that. So in the meantime, Mystique's been coming to him over and over again. It's like, hey, can you bring back Destiny, my love? I can't. I just don't feel right here without her. And he's like, we're working on it, but we don't think it's right to have her there right now. But she eventually finds out why, right? So she goes behind their back, brings Destiny back anyway, and now it's on, right? Um, they are now hunting down Moira Taggart. They're going to freaking kill her as vengeance for what she did. In the meantime, they actually also took away her powers. So if they kill her, that's it. She cannot come back, right? Um, so they get a hold of her that one time. They chop off her arm, but so she doesn't bleed out. Freaking forget the name of it was Warlock. I forget or
Warlock. Yeah.
yeah, freaking gives her some of the virus that builds her own arm. In the meantime, she gets a hold of a portal and she goes off. Let's get down into the current issue where she's still on a run. Mystique is like hot on her heels, everything, just trying to freaking kill her. But as a secondary story that's kind of overlaid over this one, you got a Wolverine that has been infected with a techno organic virus that's from the Phalanx, and he's doing stuff. He's like after more Tagger. We don't know whether he's after a killer or just after for pieces of that virus or what. But that's where we're at right now. So I'm not sure what's that supposed to be about. But I like it. I like the look of Wolverine and this one. Um, the freaking gore is freaking crazy, man. Freaking people getting popped in the freaking head. Bombs are freaking exploding. People getting blown up all over the freaking place. This is the crazy, no need to think about it action that I've been needing from a Wolverine book. Let's go. What did you think about it, Professor?
Uh, Unfortunately, I think about it. So, the problem that I have with this is the Wolverine being infected with a techno-organic virus just doesn't make sense to me because of Wolverine's healing powers. So any infection that he gets, we've seen this for decades in X-Men, that you can't infect him with anything because his natural immunity fights it off and gets rid of it. And that's what should happen here, and probably will. It's just that if the Brood can lay an egg in him, and he can get rid of that, and we've seen 100 times him getting infected by stuff that he can just reject, then I don't know why this techno-organic virus is such a big deal. In fact, I think that we've even seen him infected with the techno-organic virus before and have him fight it off. And that would have been probably 20 years ago, maybe during the Phalanx story. But I remember, I seem to remember that. The rest of the story, I like that this story has kind of spilled out of the Inferno issues, where Mystique and Destiny are now trying to actively make sure that their timeline stays intact by killing Moira, and that's kind of a good organic story that's it's flowing. There's a reason for it. I buy the motivations of all the characters in this issue. It just seems like Wolverine in this issue is more of like the Jason Voorhees or the Michael Myers, that kind of just is that force that you can't avoid.
Yeah.
He's hardly in this issue, and he doesn't factor into this issue at all. This is a Moira and a Mystique issue, 100%. So the having this be the X Deaths of Wolverine, and then having it flip flop to X Lives of Wolverine,
Yeah.
is
A little
a bit
much.
confusing, maybe a bit confusing to the regular readers that are either maybe picking up one or the other. But I think, again, at the end of the day, I probably need to gather all these books together and read them all at once to kind of understand what they're actually trying to do, because it seems a bit disjointed. Because the X Lives of Wolverine is kind of like he went back in time, right? He's back in
Yeah.
time trying to save Professor X or something,
Or is it
or
Mora? I think he was trying to
or
say Mora.
Mora, yeah,
Yeah.
Mora, yeah. But Professor X's father, isn't it, or
Yeah.
grandfather, or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
It's confusing because he's inhabiting his. I think he's inhabiting his body, his past body, right? So very strange, but yeah, this book, it is what it is, and it's a really kind of light mutant month, because the all the books are kind of on hiatus until
Mm.
they do the relaunch next month. So this is kind of one of the only stories you're getting in Mutant Town this month. So might as well
Good.
read it.
Good.
So
Good. Good. Because I loved it during when the pandemic first started. Or was it when the pandemic first started? Yeah, it was
mhm.
about when the pandemic first started. They slimmed down to just House of X and Power of X,
Yep,
and that was it. And that was absolutely lovely. And it was like a reset button,
yep,
right? Where I could get caught up, and they would introduce elements into the House of X or Power of X, and it gave me a second to go, hold up, what's this all about? And I could do some research, like, oh, okay, I got it. So, I know I get it. A lot of the older readers, or veteran readers, don't like what's going on with the House of X, Power of X. But guess what? It was a reset button. It was a time for newer readers, a lot of people that are newer into the hobby, to come up and have a place where, yeah, all that stuff was a thing. All that stuff is a reference. But what's important right now is that House of X or Power of X. And then I can go back into the other stuff and figure out who that person was and why this thing right here is so important. And if they're doing that with X Deaths of Wolverine right now, and
mhm.
X Lives of Wolverine, I think that's a beautiful thing. I think they should do that every year, whether it be X-Men or Spider-Man, because Spider-Man books are getting kind of crazy right now. They should be
Yeah.
doing that with the Batman books, because there's too many doggone Batman books right now.
Mhm.
You know, every year, just shut it all down, shut down to one or two books,
And they just
reset
kind of,
everything,
yeah, just bring it
build
back
on
to
it.
zero. You know, this is what happened. This is what's coming up, and here's this. We're setting the table for the next year.
That's what
Yeah,
annuals were supposed to be, right?
yeah, yeah.
Instead of just one shot. Oh yeah, by the way, like no man, reset the book.
Hmm.
Take the time, see if all your stuff makes sense.
Yeah,
Give the reader a point where you say, hey, if I read this book right here and then research everything that's in that book, I'm going to understand everything at least for the next year or so. If
yeah.
Marvel can do that, you're going to be set. DC definitely needs to do that because they're on some BS right now.
I'm also going to put in my request to keep creators on a book long term. You know,
Yeah.
longer term. You know, that's with the best news that I got this week was Zdarsky and Chichetto staying on Daredevil, because
Mm.
I really thought Devil's Reign was the end for them, but thank you, and that does not apply to keeping Jason Aaron on Avengers. Thank you.
Jason
um,
Aaron is on some other S right now, but you know a lot of people don't like what Jason Aaron is doing. But guess what? All of the stuff that Donny Cates and Al Ewing has been doing, they've been referencing his good ideas,
yeah.
and they've been extending it and kind of explaining what the repercussions and the implications are. The only problem, they don't know how to finish the storylines.
Hmm. Yeah,
That's
that's the thing
it.
is there's so many threads going on in Avengers right now. It's pulling my hair out. What's left of it.
Too many
So
threads going on in Avengers and Thor and Venom and Hulk right now.
yeah.
Like, come on, let's get it together. Let's get come on. No, give me a point, man. Freaking, first you got Mjolnir popping off, then you got Bangrog popping off, and Jane Thor's got her own thing. She's got cancer coming back. Somebody's probably got the coronavirus.
Oh, jeez.
Wolverine's got the warlock. Right? Come on, man. Y'all need to slow down now. I mean,
Yeah.
I was feeling good. I was feeling like I just got caught up. Now y'all freaking going crazy again. I
Oh,
digress.
all right. Well, Lucas, we are out of time today, and it was great talking to you again. And we're gonna have to get together in 2 more weeks and talk more comics. And we'll be right. Well, I think we're gonna be hitting right up against maybe the release of Moon Knight.
Hmm.
Moon Knight's coming out in March 30th, so we'll have a couple of shows before we get there.
Yep. So quick. By the time this airs, the game will have already aired. So what we got to know is, what would you pick? What was your pick?
For the Super Bowl.
Yes. No, for Valentine's Day, man. What you pick? Chocolates, flowers, or balloons?
I want the Bengals. I think the Rams are going to win, but I think the Bengals are a great underdog story.
Mm, okay. Yes,
What
sir.
about you?
Yes, sir. Well, I have a whole bunch of trading card hobby boxes from 2020, which would have been the rookie card for Joe Burrow just sitting around right now.
Oh, so you want the Bengals to win?
Yes, because my wife picked up some of them for like $20 on eBay. The day after Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals won to get into the Super Bowl, it went up to $250.
Whoa, whoa.
They now dropped down to like 145 to 175 depending on what day it is. But I guarantee you, if Cincinnati wins, it's going to go back up.
Oh yeah,
People will start
of
digging
course.
through.
All right. Well, good luck there. Let's go. I'll be cheering for the Bengals to win, because I don't. I mean, I'm a Boston guy. I can't root for LA.
I'm rooting for Bud Light. How about that?
There we go. There we go. All right. So we will see you in a fortnight, and until then, stay safe. And boom.